Your Name has been my third anime film that I have ever watched, and honey, it was mwah, chef's kiss. Let's talk about it. So, if you're new here, hi, my name is Sabrina, and I am new into the anime world. I just started about 2 or 3 years ago, and about April of this year, I got into this whole rant on TikTok, and it kind of spiraled into documenting my journey as a newbie in the anime world. So far, my whole experience has been strictly with anime series, like the popular ones right now. And I asked a couple of weeks ago on my TikTok for a bunch of my followers if anime films were worth it, because I haven't seen any. And I know that there are some really popular ones, and I got an overwhelming response of people that were like, girl, what are you doing? Watch it. So they ended up giving me a bunch of recommendations in my comments. So I compiled a whole list, and I started with one film and quickly realized that it was very difficult for me to pick like which movies, because I didn't want any spoilers. So long story short, my brother gave me this idea to use a digital spinner wheel and just let the spinner wheel decide. And that just kind of became the whole series on TikTok, and now we're about 3 weeks in. So it's the spinner wheel series. Choose my next anime film with me. So make sure you stick to the end of this video, because I'm going to be sharing my leaderboard or my ranking board as each week, and I'll be updating it where that movie falls in the movies I have seen previously. So it's my first video doing this. I'm really excited to share it. All right, let's just go straight into storyline. So I have never seen this level of storytelling. It's kind of like this supernatural romance. If I did, I don't remember it at all. It did remind me a lot of this romantic film with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock back in the day called Lake House. Just a little bit more supernatural. So this was such a unique story. Outside of the fact that the scenes were just stunning, and the score, because there was a couple of moments when they're playing certain music that I really noticed the music in the background that was incredible. But what I really loved about this story was you could kind of see that the body swapping that they were doing was enriching each other's lives in some way. You know, when he was in the girl's life, I felt like he was stepping away from his city life and kind of being around more family events and learning more about just slowing down and appreciating things and traditions. And that's just something he wasn't experiencing in Tokyo. While her, on the other hand, she wanted nothing more than to go to Tokyo, because there was nothing going on in her village, you know? So her experiencing everything over there was so cool. So they got to kind of experience that. But at the same time, in experiencing these things through their counterparts' body, they got to know each other's lives and build a connection in that way. And to some people, it might seem a little melodramatic how they kind of fell for each other, being that they've never actually spoken to one another. But I don't know. I'm freaking Latina. Like, I grew up on telenovelas. There's been way less melodramatic stuff for me. So it really does seem like getting a glimpse into somebody's life and who they are and how the people around them love them. Yeah, I could see that as a formula for falling for somebody, especially when she was trying to set him up with the hottest chick at their work. Now getting towards the end of the movie, like 75% to the end, it was shock after shock. I knew there was something we weren't quite grasping, but I was not sure what it was. I'm telling you, I'm typically very good at picking at things, picking up plots pretty early on, and anime has been making me a fool. Okay. They've been making me a fool. Okay. Because when he finally went to go look for her, and for him to be going around the towns trying to find this town, I found it very weird that nobody could help him when she wasn't too far away from Tokyo. And when we finally found out that it was because that town had been wiped off the face of the earth, I was dumbfounded. I was like, don't tell me this is the way this movie ends, because I was already getting so invested in him finding her. So that was a crazy twist. And what I really liked were little things like, for an example, when he woke up again after a long time not having swapped and knowing that she had died 3 years prior. And he woke up in her body. And instead of immediately grabbing himself, he hugged himself and cried. Dude, when I tell you, it got me. It got me. And then it makes you laugh afterwards when he starts grabbing his breast. It was so funny. And then this whole race, it became a race at the end of the movie to change the future. It was so crazy. And I was at the edge of my seat, the edge of my couch, like for the last 40 minutes of that movie, like at least, because I was like, I don't even, how are they going to fix it? And I was so on the edge of thinking that, yo, they're really not going to do this to me. Are they? They're really not going to do this to me. And up until the fucking very end, the last minute of the movie, you don't fully know. And for me to tell you that when they finally met up at the mountain and they had that moment, I realized it was a golden hour. It was a twilight hour they talked about earlier in the movie during class. I was like, full circle. I got really emotional. I got really emotional at the end of this movie. I cried very, very hard. If I got the balls, I'll put a clip of me somewhere where I did record my initial reaction right after the movie on my Instagram stories, because I'm trying to be more active on that. So I'll put it somewhere and you guys can see it. But yeah, storyline, fucking 10 for 10. Are you kidding me? No, just amazing. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the character. So let's start with Taki. Taki was just your average boy, right? He was your average boy. There was nothing really like wow about Taki. He was just so normal and in the sweetest way. Like, he was just a hardworking student, hard worker, and he had no real interest in love in the beginning of this. Like, I mean, not even Miki, who's the hot girl that he works with, he's even paying any attention to her, which speaks a lot into how he fell in love with Mitsuha. So I really liked Taki's character. He was just so adorable and so much fun. And he was also kind of a little bit of a punk to his friends, which was funny. Mitsuha was a little bit more of a complex character, right? So for me, I really liked her character because she lived in a small town and she's a classic small town girl syndrome, right? Where she wants to go move into the city because her life is just ridiculous. And her father's, of course, the mayor, and he just terrible, terrible parent. So she has a lot of pressure there, and she also just wants to experience her life. And I get that she wants to get out from under her father's thumb. So that kind of adds a little bit more of an element to her. And as well as she has like this whole connection with her family regarding the comet, and that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that twist in that. So she was a much more, to me, developed character. And I loved how, you know, the subtleness of how they fell in love was like that moment where she knew that he was going on the date and she was, you know, standing in front of the mirror and getting dressed and just like tears come down her face. Like, I love those subtleties in that. So Mitsuha was totally awesome. And, you know, to see them when they got older, and oh God, I forgot to say in the story aspect that one of my favorite things about this movie is literally this movie has made me feel such an intense feeling of longing because of these two characters. And I can't believe they put us to that flash forward, which pissed me off because then it was 8 years in total. But, you know, to finally see them at the end look at each other, and it's just tears, guys, just tears. So ratings and would I recommend this film? So I'm just going to start by saying that if you have not seen this movie, I don't even need you to run and watch it. I need you to run and buy it on whatever stream service you have, which is what I did, and just keep it because you're going to want to rewatch it. My ratings on this it's a 5 out of 5. Are you serious? Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to put up now my leaderboard. I just designed this really quickly. I wanted to show you guys where this movie falls. So far I've seen 3 movies and this is my number 1 so far. Unbelievable. So Akira was my first movie, Howl's Moving Castle was my second, and Your Name was my last one. So I loved Howl's Moving Castle. I did a review on TikTok if you guys want to go check it out. And it was amazing. An incredible fantasy story. I loved it. I bought a t-shirt. I'm officially a Studio Ghibli fan. But when I'm comparing this to Your Name, not that it's like, it's not the same category. You know, we have the supernatural and we have fantasy, but the biggest indicator to me that really kind of tipped it over is that Howl's Moving Castle is an incredible film, and it's stunning and it's beautiful, and I loved it and I laughed, but it's still very much a family film still. I watched it with my kids right after. I mean, I rented it, I bought it right after, then I had my kids watch it. Okay, fantastic family film, highly recommend it. Okay, but Your Name is strictly a romance. It's strictly a romance, and having that, and it has a lot of feeling of longing, and it's gonna pull at your heart, dude. It's really incredible. So far, this is my number one, and I'm terrified about any other romance movies I get into. So I'm going to be updating this every time I do a review, and I'm really excited. I hope you guys like the pattern. So guys, that is my ultimate review on Your Name. If you guys have seen this movie, please tell me your ratings in the comments. It has to be 5 for 5. There's no way you're not. And if there's any movies that you want me to watch that is not on this list, make sure that you comment that down below as well, or to the side, depending on where you're watching this from. And yeah, I'm really excited. So I will check you out in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.